La Llorona. A long time ago, in a humble little village, lived a little girl named Maria. Some say she was the most beautiful girl in the world, and because she was so beautiful, Maria thought she was better than anyone else. As Maria grew older, her beauty increased, and so did her pride in her beauty. As a young girl, she would not even look at any man from her own village. They were not good enough for her. Maria would say, "When I get married, I'm going to marry the most handsome man in the world." And then one day, into Maria's village rode a handsome ranchero. It was almost like it was the man that she had been talking about. He was a ranchero, a son of a wealthy rancher from the South Plains. He rode like a cowboy. In fact, if he owned a horse and it got tame, he would give it away and rope himself a brand new horse from the plains. He didn't think it was manly to ride a horse unless it was half wild. He was dashing, and he played the guitar, and he could sing beautifully. Maria made up her mind then and there that that was a man for her, and she had the tricks to get his attention. So, when the ranchero and her met in the pathway and the ranchero would talk to her, Maria would turn her head away. And when the ranchero would come at night to serenade her with his guitar, Maria wouldn't come up to the window, and she would deny all of his costly gifts. Soon the ranchero fell for her tricks. "That haughty Maria," he would say. "I know I can win her heart, and I swear I'm going to marry that girl." So it was just like Maria wanted. And soon after, the ranchero and her got engaged, and were soon married. It was fine at first. They had 2 beautiful children, and everyone thought they made a fine family together. But after a few years, the ranchero went back to his wild life in the prairies. He would leave town and be gone for months, and then when he returned, it seemed like he only returned to visit his children. It seemed that he was no longer interested in beautiful Maria. Maria had pride, but this made her very mad, and soon some of the anger went towards her children, because he paid attention to them and ignored her. He was even talking about setting Maria aside and marrying someone from his own wealthy class. Well, one day, Maria and her children were walking down a shady pathway by the riverbank, and her husband, as ranchero, came by in a carriage, and sitting beside him was an elegant lady. He stopped and talked to his children, but didn't even look at Maria. He whipped up his horses back on the street, and at the sight of this, Maria was completely enraged, and that anger went towards her children. And although it is sad to say, she grabbed her 2 children and threw them into the river, and down the stream they went. And before long, she had realized what she had done, and she started running to try to get them, and she reached out her arm, but they were long gone. The next day, the travelers came to the villagers with the news of a beautiful woman laying dead by the riverbank. And so they went, and that is where they found Maria, and that is where they laid her to rest. But the first night that Maria was in her grave, the villagers heard someone crying for their children. "Where are my children? ¿Dónde están mis hijos?" And they saw a woman going up and down the riverbank wearing a long white robe, a similar robe to what they had dressed Maria for the burial. Well, till this day, they still hear the cries back and forth of "Where are my children?" So they no longer call her Maria. They refer to her as La Llorona, the weeping woman. And until this day, she is still known as La Llorona. So children, I warn you, do not go out in the dark, because La Llorona might snatch you and never return you back. The end.